Welcome to the Road to the Ryder Cup, hosted by Dr. Jeff Poblarski and my dad, PGA golf professional Frank Darby. Let's go USA.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Road to the Ryder Cup. Hey, it's kind of getting pretty close here. Everybody, a lot of excitement in the Northeast about the upcoming Ryder Cup, and nobody is more familiar than times and what's happening at Bethpage than my co-host, Dr. Jeff Poplarski. So, Jeff, go ahead and give us some stats and some news.
Yeah, as of the filming of this podcast, which is August 22nd, there are 35 days to the Ryder Cup at Bethpage Black. As you know, a lot of things are happening up there. This weekend, the 4,300 volunteers have an opportunity to pick up their uniforms at Hofstra University. A manual just went out this morning that I just reviewed to all the 4,300 volunteers. A pretty impressive manual with maps and protocols and PGA Tour information. The Black did close on 8/17, so there's no public play to the Black until actually October 6th, I believe. So a lot of construction is now intensifying on that first hole and 18th hole. They're going to have an amphitheater type like stands there, which is going to be pretty impressive. I'm in right now in San Diego for the Women's Senior U.S. Open, but some of my friends told me that the state is actually paving Bethpage Parkway and the road leading into Bethpage. So a lot of awesome things happening there on Long Island. Our sponsor, 37 days, the Tunnel to Towers 5K run and walk in Manhattan that winds up down at Ground Zero. So we're preparing for that event. Long Island on 8/17 of this week, we had one of our celebrity golf outings. We raised a whole bunch of money to help our American heroes. We do have a national golf series with over 150 golf events nationwide. And Frank, 386 days to the 25th anniversary of 9/11. The Tunnel to Towers has all these spectacular ceremonies planned on the lead up to the 25th anniversary. So little updates, Frank, and back to you with our special guest.
Hey, listen, first of all, I got to say, Frank Siller is the man. Frank Siller is a hero, and everything he's doing with Tunnel to Towers and how many people he is, helping out. And listen, speaking about helping people out, we've got our guest, a real good friend of mine. I mean, I would have him on every week on my Sirius show if I could. We've got Paul Tesori with us. Paul, thank you for coming on the Road to the Ryder Cup.
Yeah, Frank, Jeff, thank you for having me on. Thank you for Tunnel for Towers, for sponsoring this segment. I get to geek out on one of the greatest sporting events in the world, and so let's get after it.
Paul, I'm going to ask you a question right off the bat. I mean, you caddied in 8 President's Cup, 3 Ryder Cups. We'll get into that. But my first question off the bat is that one of your captains at the President's Cup was Tiger Woods. And there was a lot of chatter about a year ago that Tiger Woods was going to be the captain at Bethpage, but they picked Keegan Bradley instead. I just wanted some opinions. How was Tiger as a captain? And what are your thoughts on Keegan Bradley being the captain of the Ryder Cup?
Yeah, let's start with the Tiger question first. Brought himself into a lot of the things that were done. I would say I would give him a full 99 out of 100 would be his rating. The 1% would be that we were all on his schedule. Tiger goes to bed fairly early, wakes up really early. And so that bus was leaving every day at 6 a.m. It would get back about 8 p.m. And then you would rinse and repeat the next day. So we were pretty tired a lot of those days being on the Tiger schedule. But he was incredible. A lot of people don't remember, but we were getting pretty well smoked over in Australia during that President's Cup. I think at one point we were down, I want to say 7.5 to 1.5, and it looked like it was going to be worse until I think Cantlay and JT made 2 big putts on 18 to kind of bring that back to a reasonable place. But he just kind of brought that same thing. He never got worked up. His voice never changed. He kept going to us. I was, with Webb at the time, and Webb and Patrick Reed got paired together the first 3 matches and went 0-3. The first 2 matches they played fantastic. They just got beat by the other team, and then they didn't play well the third day. just remember Webb being really down and Tiger come over to him and just looking at him right in the face and say, "You do whatever you have to do today to get ready to get me a point tomorrow. If you want to leave now and go back and take a nap, do whatever you want to do, you do it. If you want to practice, you do it. Whatever makes you better, that's what I need you to do." And he was great about that. And it was a big comeback, and the U.S. pulled it out at the end. And so, yeah, I think Tiger was incredible. And again, being around him and that competitive desire was really something I'll never forget. And now you asked about the Keegan comparisons.
Yeah.
The first thing I think that would come to my mind would be intensity. I think if you looked at Keegan Bradley and you looked at Tiger and go, what is the biggest common denominator? I would say it would be intensity. And then the next, we'll do another I, intentionality. Just very intentional. I'm very fortunate that I've been able to get a little bit of the inside scoop through some of this stuff, and I won't share anything that I'm not allowed to, but the intentionality with what Keegan has brought to this is unlike anything the PGA America has ever seen from the US side. And, Webb being an assistant said he has just never seen anybody this driven as Keegan is to make this right, to do this right, to do all the little things so these boys can go out and play at their highest level.
Yeah, I think that's a great word about Keegan because when he played for me, you don't hear that word driven so much. He's so enthusiastic, but, he's had a couple of scenarios there where Medina was not a good thing for him, where we lost down the stretch right there in the singles matches, and then not being picked for that next team was not a good thing right now. So he's driven to make certain that everything goes perfect in this one right here. Paul, let me just ask you a quick thing. The intensity between the President's Cup and the Ryder Cup. The Ryder Cup is just how much more? Is it that much more?
So, yeah, I have a good story about it. First of all, Keegan still has not unpacked his bag from the 2012 Ryder Cup. Somebody needs to ask him to tell that story at some point, but he still has not unpacked that bag. He said he would not do it until he was part of a winning U.S. team. Man, I could go into the 2012 one for a while. It was still a special week, even though we got beat. But, the next part is about the intensity, President's Cup to Ryder Cup. Like, both teams you desperately want to be on. Both teams you are nervous going into, but ready to succeed, ready to play well. But there is nothing like the Ryder Cup that I've really ever experienced. Webb still says the most nervous he's ever been in his whole career was 2012 in the practice round at Medina on Tuesday. He still says to this day that he's never experienced something like that before. He was much better in the competition than he was on the practice round just because of how loud it is. Bubba's our partner, everybody's screaming, yelling, and they're going as you're hitting the golf shot. That'll tell you a little bit about, what that means. The crowds are just different at a Ryder Cup than a President's Cup. They're louder, more boisterous. They are very intense as well. And it's almost like, you've always heard the adage, they say you could cut the tension with a knife. I feel like that's the way it is at the Ryder Cup almost every single match. And the fact that it's really pushed into 3 days. I like the 4-day system a little bit better. But the 3-day system means it is going to happen this fast. You're going 36, 36, 18, and everything feels like it matters even a little bit more just because it's such a, 3 days, this thing's over. So you kind of have to get after it quick.
Do you think the 4 days, that is something that the Ryder Cup it might make it a little bit easier for the captains, maybe to be a playing captain where you don't have, like you said, that quick type of stuff and you've got to make pairings for that second round?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm probably I don't know why. It's better for TV to have 4 days. It's better for fans to have 4 days. Better for the players to have 4 days. The word they use obviously is tradition when I've talked about this stuff. But if you really look at all the other things, 4 days is just better. And to ask players to go 36, 36 back-to-back days, to ask caddies to do it, a lot of times you're not probably going to get as sharp a golf coming down the stretch in those things too. So I just think it would be better theater all the way around to have it over a 4-day stretch. It definitely matters because, you see a lot of times guys going out and playing 5 matches. I know in 2012, we made the commitment to not do 5 matches. Keegan and Phil went 3-0 in the first 3 matches, and they set that 4th match, which a lot of people doubted Davis why he did that. But we all agreed as a team beforehand, nobody would play 5 matches that week.
Paul, let me just ask one more thing about this. So if they went to 4 days, I never can figure out why they have a 12-person team, but they only play 8 players. If you went to 4 days, you could pretty much play everybody the whole time, couldn't you?
Well, you could. I don't think, because even the President's Cup now has adopted a little bit of the Ryder Cup format, where now in the President's Cup on Saturday, you just do 8 8. So you do 8 in the morning and 8 in the afternoon on Saturday. Um, you know, the good news is, like what you said, is it wouldn't be each match. It wouldn't be 8 8 8 8, which it is obviously currently with the Ryder Cup. You could go to what they do, like President's Cup would be 10 10 on Thursday,
Yeah.
Friday, then do 8 8. So there's still 4 more matches in the President's Cup than the Ryder Cup. They did it originally because obviously Europe was never as deep as the US. So when they were trying to make this a competitive team event, they wanted to make the ability to really shine the European stars. But now, if you look at this top 12 list for the European team, there is nothing weak about this bench at all. They go as deep as you need to go. So I think that there are just some things they could look at to make it better for everybody.
Paul, you've been caddying since 2000. You've been on 25 bags winning bags, which is pretty amazing. And then you won the 2012 U.S. Open and Olympic and the Players in 18. And those 2 victories were with Webb Simpson. So my question is, Webb is going to be a vice captain. What kind of responsibilities does Webb have? And does he communicate with Keegan? Does he communicate with Keegan? Or do you talk to Webb about this Ryder Cup and the communication he's having with Keegan?
Yeah, absolutely. So I definitely have talked to Webb a lot about it. I'm just so intrigued by the entire thing. Webb has said that he's never seen anybody so intentional with what they're doing as a captain. And, Webb's been on these teams. He's been an assistant captain as well in the President's Cup team in Quail Hollow. And he said, Paul, we talk probably 5 days a week. We at least communicate 5 days a week. Sometimes that could be through multiple texts, but on the phone. He said Keegan is probably in touch with all of the vice captains at least 5 days a week. And as a group, probably the same exact amount. So again, that could be a big text chain where everybody's putting thoughts back and forth. It could be intentional phone calls, video calls like we're having right now. But he said there's literally been no stone that Keegan has not looked under, has not turned over. So he said he's felt like a full member of this team. He was the first assistant captain that was named. And he's been a full part of it from the very beginning. His words to me were just, he feels like they want to win this thing so badly because everything that Captain Bradley has done has been for the betterment of the players and for the event itself. And so, the PGA America, they've seen some new things out of Keegan, but Keegan's a player. And he knows the things to get the players ready that needed to be done.
Awesome. Paul, our sponsor is the Tunnel to Towers. You could go on their website, t2t.org, and make as little as $11 a month donation to assist our American heroes. So we're going to go to commercial break and hear from the Tunnel to Towers.
Hi, I'm Gary Player. I'm a professional golfer. I've won 165 tournaments, and I'm one of 5 golfers to achieve a Grand Slam career victory. But what means more to me than all of this is my ability to give back and do good, particularly to the United States of America. That's why I'm committed to helping Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Good to see you, Frank. Good to see you, Gary. How you doing?
You're one of the most successful golfers that ever played the game. You're an incredible human being, but you joined the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. You see the work we're doing, and you wanted to help us raise money because how much you love America.
And I'll never forget one of the days I went for you in Miami. This lady was on duty with her husband, and the police. She heard that her husband had just been killed. Now she's got 2 children. What's the first thought that comes to your mind? How am I going to support these children? How am I going to give them an education? How am I going to give them a normal life? What am I going to do with my mortgage? Tunnel to Towers is right there, across the board. I mean, what you do is fantastic.
Because You know the sacrifice that was made for our country to give us this beautiful country.
I doubt if there's anybody that loves a country more than I do. And I have said gratitude for what this country has not only done for me, but what it's done for the world.
And as a foundation, you know, we're there to help these families after they lose their loved one and they have young families left behind. And I know you're here to join us on that.
Tunnel to Towers is working every day to support America's greatest heroes. Please donate $11 a month at t2t.org. The Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Let us do good.
Welcome back to the road to the Ryder Cup. We're speaking with Paul Tesori, and Paul's been around for quite a while, and he's seen a lot of different things out there on the PGA Tour. What would have been like out of the 3 Ryder Cups that you were at? Was there one moment where there was just a great story that you just love to keep telling?
Yeah, for sure. So I had done, by the time I did my first Ryder Cup in 2012, I had already done, I believe, 6 President's Cups at that time. And so this was a big deal for me. It was something that I always wanted to kind of check off that I had done in my career. And it was incredible. Like I told you, Webb was more nervous on Tuesday. We go out and him and Bubba have a great run in the team event. And we're in a big match against, it would have been Justin Rose and Ian Poulter. And I think we're tied at the time, and we're on that par 3 at Medina. I might miss the hole. I want to call it 13, but it's 250 yards. It's over water. It's a front right pin, and we're playing alternate shots. So it's our hole. It is a really intimidating tee shot, and we're in a massive match. And we got to wait on the group in front of us. And Webb turns to me and goes, "Paulie, take a look over there on the left." And like I have goosebumps right now if you can see him. And it's Michael Jordan and Michael Phelps are sitting on the tee box watching us do what we do for a living. And he goes, "Those are the 2 greatest that will ever walk this planet at what they did. And they're here watching us experience what we're doing." They were also captains with us, assistant captains that week. So they were in the team room every day. But it's kind of little small moments like that in that big of an arena, that big of an atmosphere, that big of a moment, that you can kind of sit back and go, look over here on our left. And I think those are the things that make these events special. I mean, we had, Willie Mays, Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods sitting at a table having a conversation one day. I mean, come on. Where else do you get to have something like that you get to experience? And you get that at these team events. And everybody comes together as Americans, obviously, to try to win, as Europeans to try to win, but everybody comes together. It's not just a golf team that week. It's deeper than that.
Paul, as you know, I direct that wellness team for the U.S. Open since 2002. I've also chaired the caddies 10 times for the USGA, also starting at Bethpage in 2002. And just for our audience, when a caddy comes in, they register, and it's usually separate from the player. They have their own hospitality away from the player. They park away from the player. They're kind of segregated from the player until they play. My question to you is the team rooms that you just mentioned there. What's the interaction with the caddy and the team room? Are you segregated from the players, or are you in just one room, caddies and players?
What a fantastic question. And this is where I think Keegan's going to do it so perfectly well. So in 2012, players and caddies did everything together. Everything together. We ate together. We drank together. We played ping pong together. We did everything was together. In 2014, the next year, we did nothing together. We were segregated from the players. We didn't really know what was going on. We didn't eat with them. Those things just did not happen. And then 2018 came back around, which would have been my 3rd one. And it was like somewhere right in between. And I really believe when you look at the European side, they do everything together. And the caddies and the players, they are equals. And I think that's one of those things that even though we lost in 12, we had a 4-point lead in team play. The captain did his job. Captain Love did his job perfectly. And then the next time around when Captain Love had a chance, he won. But I do believe that unity is something massively important. And you just hit on We don't spend any time where the players are. We weren't allowed into locker rooms until just a year ago. So those things were kind of something that we weren't allowed to do, but now it's becoming a little bit more of a norm. And I think that's a big difference. The USGA does a fantastic job when it comes to, really taking good care of the caddies, and then the Masters. Those would be the big two that kind of the players eat with us at the Masters a lot of the time. So that'll share with you, kind of those two. And when you get that team atmosphere, the team unity, it makes us more invested, and I think brings the team closer together.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. So, Paul, let me ask you. So, the old Ryder Cups growing up, there used to always be like a lot of adversity when Sevy was around, and they just didn't like each other. I think it's a little different now since probably everybody on the European Ryder Cup team either lives in Jupiter or Orlando, and you see these guys and you see the caddies. Is there a little bit of not liking each other, or do they just turn it on for Ryder Cup week?
It's something always still there. It's just something always still there. Like you saw it last week with Robert McIntyre and Scotty Scheffler. I mean, the crowd was very much go USA, go USA. And you saw Robert didn't back down from that at all. Like, he enjoyed that. And he's going to be he already was a successful player in the last Ryder Cup. He's going to be successful again just because he loves that moment. So I will say this, Frank. Yes, they get along during the year, but there is no love lost once a Ryder Cup comes around. I think that's the part that the U.S. is finally understanding, is that this friendly type of thing as you go into it, like buddies and all that. Like, I can't say on this podcast some of the things that have been said to me, but I've seen guys who are my friends on the other side and be like, hey, bud, hey, how's everything going? How's, Samantha doing, your wife? And I got told something back that had anything to do with Samantha. So that'll share with you. And, I worked for Tom Kim last year on the other side. I was on the international side, and the same thing. These are my friends, my brothers, I would say. And I would say something to them, and they would, say something I can't say on this podcast. So that'll share with you. Like, when the team event comes, all of that is, my personality isn't as much that way. I want to win my match. I want my guy to play as good as possible. I don't get quite that way, but a lot of the guys do. And our captain for the U.S. team, he definitely will be fiery and won't be as happy-go-lucky and friends.
Paul, I have the utmost respect for a PGA Tour caddy. It's when I first got into this at 2002, we heard a lot about caddy presentation at events, like not being able to go to the locker room, bad parking, bad food. And we at the USJ got together and made this incredible program for you. And I've heard many times that the USJ, like you just said, is definitely one of the better presentations on the tour. But my question to you is, it's no longer carrying a bag. You guys are psychologists, bodyguards, ex-pros like you were, know the clubs inside and out, know the courses, the yardage, the wind. There's so much involved with caddying where I think a normal person really doesn't understand that. So some thoughts about the evolution of caddying over the last 30 years, where it is today.
Yeah, a massive evolution. First of all, I think the best way for me to describe it is, if you have any kind of business and there's not much money in it, then you're not going to have a lot of competition for those jobs. It does not matter what you're doing. Sports, it doesn't matter. As soon as, Tiger said, "Hello world," I think that's what he said. It might've been him that said, "Hello world." All of a sudden we went from playing for a smaller, much, much smaller amount to starting to play for more. So as the early 2000s started to progress and it started going on, the landscape started to change because there was a lot of money that started pouring into being a caddy on the PGA Tour. All of a sudden, you started getting ex-pros that could come in. They would have a high golf IQ, high teaching ability, like you said, psychology, understand. If you're in the rough, there could be 6 different jumpers that are going to come out of rough. To have the ability to understand which one of those are going to come out, to be able to help in these areas, to be able to travel ahead of time and be able to give this information, things changed a lot. Now, caddies that came way before us, they still were extremely good, and some of the best personalities that unfortunately a lot of us will never really fully get to know. And they paved the way for us to do what we're able to do now. But the landscape has changed mightily. Nowadays, I would say probably 75% of the guys either played college golf at a high level or played professional golf and then got into caddying. I'd say the professionalism has been the thing that has changed the most. I mean, you got guys that they are just so heavily driven to succeed as much as their players are. And you're seeing that over and over again. And the impact that caddies can have, we've seen it with Teddy Scott and Scotty Scheffler. Like just so many of these instances where that has happened. And it has changed. I think it's changed for the better. And now the tour has come along. I think the tour's come along a little slowly at times, but the tour's come along and really started to make things better. The tournaments have made things better. I still remember back in the old days at Bay Hill, we had to leave the shelter that we had for a lightning delay because it was metal poles and we had to go stand in the rain. They thought it was better for us to stand in the rain than it was to be at the poles. And where now a lot of times, I'd say half the events we're in a clubhouse. We have they'll close down the ladies' locker room for the week and allow us to use that. Hilton Head, TPC, the USGA does a great job. Augusta does a great job. Quail Hollow. There's a lot of events now. Chicago for the BMW, they're probably the best. We get courtesy cars, BMW courtesy cars for the week there. Hartford, Connecticut, we got courtesy cars for the week. I mean, this is unheard of back in the day. And so, those things are good. Our expenses get pretty high, and events that do those kind of things for us, it's very appreciative, and it's been a nice change.
Paul, every time we talk on my Sirius program, we're always talking about relationships and being around all these great players. Tell us a little bit about what your thoughts are on Scotty Scheffler and Ted Scott.
Yeah, like there's times I almost get even a little emotional. So first of all, they're two different. So Scotty, just what he's been able to do golf wise, I didn't think I'd ever see it again. The run he's on is definitely a Tiger run. The fields are deeper than they've ever been. They're stronger than they've ever been. The competition from 1 to 144 is stronger than it's ever been. And he's doing things that we didn't think we'd ever see again. He does it differently than Tiger did, but there's still those similarities. That chip in on the 71st hole last week, that's a Tiger thing. That's what Tiger did. Those 3 20-footers Scotty made yesterday toward the end of the round, those are things that, Tiger did. And now, he's doing things statistically that Tiger did. So that's amazing. But here's the cool thing. He's the same. He has not changed one iota. He's still the same man that he was when it all started. And then Teddy Scott, there's a man that I look up to more than anything. And if I could go back and change one thing, when I went to work for Webb, he was 213th in the world, 213th in the world. And by the end of that year, he was 10th in the world. And the next year, he was 4th in the world with a major and all of these things. And I was getting all this credit. And I took a lot of the credit. Like I accepted a lot of that credit and almost kind of used that to help me feel better and stronger about my job and what I'd done. And now you look at Teddy Scott, who he deflects all the time. He deflects so well. And it's something I hope I have a chance to do again so I can deflect the way Teddy has done. But he has done so much for Scotty Scheffler. And you look at his other job being Bubba Watson, and everywhere Teddy's gone, his guys have had tremendous success. And I think so much of that is because of Teddy's personality. He has all the things the rest of us has, but he has this personality that is just, you can't replicate it. And he's able to say the right thing at the right time. If his guy needs to laugh, he makes him laugh. If his guy needs to get punched, he punches him. Like those are the things that he does so well. And I am definitely in awe of his ability. And he's one of my dearest friends on the planet. And I'm so happy for his success.
Paul, Netflix did some good shows there with Billy Foster getting a Ryder Cup trophy for I don't know how many years he was a caddy for the Ryder Cup. But my question to you was, seeing that on the winning side, does a caddy get anything like a trophy, a ring, or any memento at all?
No, we don't. We'll usually get like a kind of like a caddy gift from the captain that we'll use. I have a beautiful bench in the other room that was hand carved by a specific artist, and that says Caddy 2012 Ryder Cup. So I have that, things like that. But no, we don't receive anything. European team has received some really nice things for some Ryder Cup wins. I know Rolexes one year, all the caddies got on the European team, stuff like that. But we haven't experienced that yet on the U.S. side. Maybe that'll be coming with Captain Bradley. We never know.
Yeah, Keegan will at least, as much as he loves pizza, he'll at least give everybody a Domino's card. At least
We're in.
But So, Paul, you do so much for everybody else, and tell us a little bit about your Tesori Family Foundation, if you can.
Yeah. Frank, thanks for asking. Yeah, the Tesori Family Foundation, it's now been, oh my goodness, 16 years. My wife, Michelle, and I started it in 2009. I'd always used the excuse that I want to wait until I can really make a difference to start a foundation. And she called me out and says, no, we change one life first and then we'll go. And here we are now. We've been able to give back over $2 million now since our inception back into the local community and obviously throughout the U.S. We have what I think is the coolest thing that we've been able to do. It's called our All-Star Kids Clinics. We've done 56 of them now throughout the U.S. where we take 25 kids with special needs. We give them one-on-one instruction with PGA Tour players and caddies and the local first tee. Introduce them to the game of golf. We shine them with a bunch of bling bling, a beautiful little, a big old like Olympic style medal that they'll wear when they're leaving. We got a little dance contest, tickets to the event that week, and it's been wonderful. It somehow I want to be able to give back to a game that's given me so much. I've been more fortunate than someone should be. And every second I can to try to give back, we do. And we have a lot of other programs that we have. You can check us out on TesoriFamilyFoundation.org. But so fortunate to be in a position to be able to give back and make a little bit of a difference.
Great stuff, Paul. Paul, I have one story about you and then a question for you, just the type of person you are. I remember watching on TV when you got Webb Simpson's bag and they interviewed Webb, and he said when he interviewed you, when he was done, he felt like he was getting interviewed. And with your experiences, you wanted to make sure it was the right fit, which was pretty impressive to see that. But the comment I wanted to ask you, because I was just at Olympic Club for the USAM last week, and I remember hearing the story that you stood up on that deck there. I believe this was you, and you were watching the morning groups come through to see the approach shot, to give you that information to give to Webb on the last group on Sunday. Tell me about that experience you had.
Yeah, so especially back in those days when everything wasn't televised, so you had to actually go out and watch golf. And there's that big little section at Olympic Club that starts on the first 6 holes are just so brutally hard. If you can get through there 2 over par, you've done something well. But then you have scoring opportunities on 7, 8, 9, and 10 and 11 in that one little stretch. So I wanted to go watch some of that golf, and I was just watching. I just happened to be on number 8, the par 3. And the first group came through and the pin was back left. It was probably, I had to guess 22 on. And the first 2 guys I watched came up short of the green. Now you're talking about the best players in the world. They're probably trying to land that ball 15 yards on the green. They came up short of the green, which means they missed their number or mishit it by 15 yards. Thought it was interesting. And it goes backwards 60 yards into the rough. It's a terrible spot to be. So I went over and looked at number 7 really quick, the drivable par 4, and I popped back. And the next group that came through, the same thing happened. And then the next group came through. One guy hit on the green. The other guy was short. So 5 out of 6 guys have misjudged a shot by at least 15 yards. So I've got this in my brain. And sure enough, we come through. We're 2 over through 6, like you kind of think. We birdie number 7, and we get to 8. And the numbers say it's 100% a 6 iron. It's a no-brainer 6 iron. And I didn't really know what to do, but I just said, buddy, I think we have to hit 5 iron. Let me go through a brief synopsis why. And I went through everything that I'd seen. It pulls the 5 iron right at it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we all know in golf, if you pull it, the ball goes farther. And immediately he said, get down. The ball landed short of the green in the rough and the fringe and bounced up to 15 feet. He made the putt for birdie. And it's what sent us on the stretch that we had. And funny enough, the guy in front of us, Ernie Ellis, who was tied for the lead at the time, hit a beautiful 6 or 7 iron. It came up short and went 50 yards back and made double. And so long story short, I think we won the golf tournament because it was fortunate, this isn't on me, that I just watched shots that don't make sense. Still to this day, I don't know what happened. I don't know if it's because a marine layer came through on Sunday, it was colder, and the ball just wasn't going on that uphill shot. But, yep, that was kind of the story, and, yep, it led to a pretty special moment.
So, Paul, what are you thinking? It's got to be pretty interesting. Do you think Keegan can handle being a player captain? I mean, we're a week away, or a little less than that, from the announcement. What are your thoughts on just the enormity of being the Ryder Cup captain?
Yeah, I definitely think he can handle it. I don't think he'll do it. And I'd have no inside knowledge of that. That is just my personal opinion. I think if he would have finished 9th or better in the points, I even thought it might have needed to be 8th or better in the points. I think he would have done it because we know the team wants him on there. Everybody wants Keegan on this team. It's just the duties as a captain are so deep and they're so vast. And I think if he was still playing the way he was 3 months ago, I think he would have been, but he hasn't played that well over the last 3 months. You don't want to open yourself or the team up to more potential scrutiny if you don't have to. And listen, we have got a team full of guys that are fully capable to hold that spot. It's very rare that you have some guys that aren't in that. I think the top 9 are locked. I don't think Keegan will pick because we have some guys that aren't up there right now that really fit the mold to be successful at Bethpage. You have Cameron Young, who's 4th in putting on the PGA Tour and hits it. He's a 190-mile-an-hour ball speed guy. You got Sam Burns, who's 1st in putting on the PGA Tour, and he's 185-mile-an-hour ball speed guys. And at Bethpage, you need to do 2 things well. You need to send it, and you need to putt it. And you got 2 guys, so I think they're both going to be on the team. And then I don't know how you leave Patrick Cantlay off. So I don't think he's going to be on the team. If he is on the team, he'll handle it. This group of assistant captains he has, my goodness, I don't know how you could go much deeper than that. So they'll be able to take care of business. And he would only play, if he is, 1 match Friday, 1 match Saturday, and play singles. So he'd be able to do it.
Paul, we're hearing that the opening ceremonies is going to be absolutely spectacular at Bethpage. I know there's going to be a military presence there, and we're hearing maybe the president might even be showing up on Thursday, and it's going to be just off the charts as far as what I'm hearing. But my question to you is, I know you were on one winning Ryder Cup team. What's the best part of that celebration at the end? You see it all the time with the spraying of the champagne. Tell me a little bit about that experience.
Well, Jeff, I would love to share that experience with you. I'm actually 0-3 in Ryder Cups.
Well, you are. Oh, I'm sorry.
No. It's okay. It's okay. Hey,
I thought you won one. I thought you won one.
We've talked about good stuff on this program. We've talked about the 25 wins and majors. We got to talk about the bad stuff too. So that's okay. But 2012 was where we had the massive lead at Medina. And then obviously the comeback at Medina, they came back and beat us. And that was a sad day. It really was. That team was the most special team I've still been a part of to this day. And we weren't able to get done. 2014 and 18, they whooped us pretty good. Both of those were overseas. I would love another opportunity one day to do one on home soil. We've seen, 2008, 12, 16, and 20, the U.S. has done incredible. I know they lost 12, but with a 4-point lead in team events. And then we see the home field advantage is real in the Ryder Cup because the fans make it real. In the past, the home team's been able to set up their own stuff. So celebration-wise, I can't answer that. Now, I've been on a lot of winning President's Cup teams, and those celebrations are incredibly fun. You just get to see people with no pressure. Definitely alcohol seems to bring out some personality traits that you haven't seen in guys before. So a lot of laughter, a lot of fun, a lot of dancing. I've got some videos on my phone that I'll never share to social media, but that I will keep for the rest of my life for sure, that I don't think could be replicated. That was all the way back in the 2012 Ryder Cup when the European team came over to our, that we were a little closer back then, and there's some fun things on there.
Hey, Paul, listen, we love having you on. We could keep this show going for 2 or 3 hours right now. Jeff, I know Jeff's got a couple of things he needs to talk about before we go. So, Jeff, go ahead and.
Yeah, sure. For our audience, you could listen to us on Instagram, Facebook, X, LinkedIn, Spotify, and also YouTube. Please like, share, comment, and collaborate. Don't forget our sponsor is the Tunnel to Towers. You could go on their website, t2t.org, and you can make as little as $11 a month donation to assist our American heroes. Paul, last question before we get you going. I know you're a pretty busy guy. How does one even start a career as a caddy in 2025?
Yeah. So in the past, it's been obviously extremely difficult. You got to know somebody or go show up at some Monday qualifiers for Corn Ferry Tour, try to get on a bag, a college teammate of someone who's going to go play golf and say, hey, do you want me to start caddying for you as you're making it? Now we're doing something a little bit different, where we're trying to train up some caddies and teach them how to be professional caddies. And, it's been really, really cool to kind of watch this step go forward. We're doing it at NC State University. It's a 5-day program, and you're able to go in and you bring 4 lifetime caddies, and we're bringing in guys that are master professionals in aim point and what's our radar device that my brain's not thinking?
TrackMan.
Yep, TrackMan. We're bringing in guys who are expert with biomechanics. We're bringing in all of these people to come in to help teach these guys what they need to know. And then we try to give them opportunities. So we created opportunities for all 4 who graduated last year. And there's going to be 18. We're full already this year. There's going to be 18. And we're going to try to create opportunities for them as well. We can't guarantee it, unfortunately. We know it's a tight ship, but we're going to try to create opportunities for them to do these things. It won a lot of awards last year, which is really cool to see. And I am not part of the team who created this. Grant Berry, Mike Hicks, and then they helped create this. And then Sally Berry, Grant's wife, is the one who really put all of this together. And so I'm kind of proud to be a part of it.
I'm going to join that. I'm going to that school when they bring you up there, Paul.
I'm going this year. Come on, Frank. Let's go, buddy.
And Paul, before we let you go, the Tesori Family Foundation, Lend a Hand, Heal a Heart. How do people get more information about that again?
Yes. TesoriFamilyFoundation.org. You can jump on the website. My wife's really smart. She created a great website, really easy to use. And you can see ways to volunteer to help. We have all-star kids clinics throughout the entire country. If you see one near you, come out and volunteer. It'll make more of an impact on you than you imagine. It's worth the trip.
Yeah. And last, just one really last one for me. Are you coming to the Ryder Cup?
I am going to the Ryder Cup, but I'm going there for a little bit of a TV thing, and then I've got a speaking engagement as well. So I won't be on the ground, so to say.
Well, Paul, listen, thanks again for coming on, and we're looking forward to give me a call when you get into town. We'll meet up somewhere around there.
All right. Go US.
Paul, thanks for your time, man. God bless you, my friend.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.